Well, hi there. Welcome to Real WW Talk. I am Erin.
I'm Candace.
And I'm Ricky.
Ladies, another week. Candace, it's great to have you back from vacation.
It's not great to be back, but I guess it is great to be back. I wish I were still on vacation, but here I am with you lovely ladies, so I
That's
won't
right.
complain.
You did not return because of us. It's just sad that
No.
this is when.
Yeah, it's like if I have to be back, I guess I'll talk to them. That's what
Right.
I'll do today.
We should be the ones that are like easing you back into reality. How about
Yes,
that?
yes. If I have to do something, like I said, this is a good thing to do. So I'm happy to be with you guys.
Yeah. Well, so I should ask everybody first before how their week went. How is everybody feeling? Because we've had a lot of what ails us lately.
Oh my God.
I came down with the Rona.
Yeah.
Ricky's got, doctor's visits with gastritis. Candace has cancer.
Come
We're
on.
being held together with duct tape and prayer.
It's like I had the baby on there too. So it's like you just all of it, we'll just
Right.
take it all.
Right.
But today, right now, I'm okay. How about
Good.
that? It's a beautiful day, got to walk in. So we're going to stay in the moment and say that right now I'm all right. How about you, Ricky? How are you feeling?
Love it.
I'm okay. I'm still healing since I still have had some, symptoms of what should have been just a 2-3 week thing. I am seeking further, guidance from a GI doctor. But I have to wait to the end of July for that appointment. So I'm still just trying to stay away from acidic things. And it's definitely not the level of discomfort or pain that I had before. But, it's Candace, if we've learned anything from you, it's not to let things go unknown or,
Unchecked.
if something unchecked. Yeah. So if something's uncomfortable, even if it's just a little bit uncomfortable, my lesson in this is to follow up with it. So that's what I'm doing.
Love it.
Yes.
And Erin, you're
Yeah.
kind of.
I'm feeling mostly better. I've still got a little bit of congestion hanging around, but my biggest thing was the fatigue, man. That sucker knocked me out. But I'm back to feeling normal. As a matter of fact, I went for a 40-minute walk this morning and I went for a 40-minute walk this afternoon. So
Nice.
I know, not bad.
Very good.
So I'm going to Colorado at the beginning of August, and I went, ooh, I probably should start walking uphill on things so that I make sure that I've got like the strength and the stamina and the lung, conditioning for it. What can you do in a month? You kind of like, I'm not going to poo-poo it because you can do a lot in a month. So I've switched my walks to now a route that takes me mostly uphill.
Good.
So yeah. And I feel
great.
pretty confident about it because I've been to Ecuador twice, and that's twice the elevation of Denver. So
Okay.
I'm
That's
claiming
great
that.
that you're preparing. That's a lot of people travel and don't necessarily think about those things and then wonder why they're winded or, so it's great that you're making those preparations.
Yep. I want to have a good time, and you know what? I want to be proud of my head when I'm there. Even if I have to huff and puff a little bit, I'll be like, I'm so glad that I did the work that I did because I can't imagine how worse this would be if I
And I
hadn't.
haven't been to Colorado, but I have heard that's something that you need
Me
to
neither.
prepare for, like when you do that. Yeah.
Yep. So,
Okay.
Candace, last week you were on vacation. How'd you do on vacation? How do you feel this week?
I enjoyed myself. I didn't,
Good.
and that did not mean that it included food in terms of that's how I enjoyed myself. I got a lot of walking in. We walked the whole resort every single day, morning
Great.
and evening, and not because it just was, that was
You
just
did.
very, very fun. Got to amusement parks, and with everything going on, that felt really, really good. But I did also have some indulgences and some things that I really wanted, and thankfully my taste was normal, so I was able to taste my Pierce's barbecue sandwich. It was so good. Oh, it made my whole life. So I said, if I have to come back and continue with this chemo, at least I got a week to do what I needed to do and to really relax. So I'm feeling proud of my choices. I'm feeling proud of my exercise. I'm feeling strong. I think being outside in the sun also was a lot of, something about this time of year is something, it is really, really helpful in terms of your mental health, being outside and moving. So my
Yeah.
vacation was a lot of movement. I was proud of that.
What I hear from you is you're back from vacation and feeling proud of yourself for your vacation. There's no shame. There's no, I've got to get back on a wagon. Like you've done it in a way that felt life-giving and happiness when you returned.
And the scale was up a pound. And I was like, really? I mean, that's not that I expected, because my eating has been very clean,
Mhm.
it just has been. So on vacation, it was a little less so, but not too much.
Mhm.
And, for it to still be something that I didn't have to make up. I didn't have a big regression on the scale, which was
Mhm.
I was pleased with. But even if I had, I would have said, oh, well, let's move on. Let's move forward.
Yeah,
So that
Yeah.
mental shift was good too.
that's
I think
awesome.
sometimes vacation can be that excuse to take a break from whatever physical activity routines we have. And I think it's great that you incorporated that. And it probably made you feel so much better to just explore in a different way. Because I
Yeah.
think sometimes you can get in a mode of vacation of being more lazy, or like you might walk a theme park, but you might sleep and take an extra nap here or do that. But I love that you incorporated activity that much. That's awesome.
Yeah. I was proud.
So, Ricky, how have you been adjusting with a lot of your health struggles? Because I know a lot of your food has changed. How did you do this past week?
I did well. I mean, the scale was down, so I was happy with that. And I'm still trying to like test out a few different things. Like I had a little bit of lemonade this week, and I'm not seeing, huge problems from that. But I'm still trying to get to the bottom of it. But I'm doing well, and I'm trying to um, also explore with new things. I went to meet a friend for lunch, and we were meeting at this coffee house I love, and this is so silly, but I love their hot coffee cups. But I didn't want to get coffee because that is something that can aggravate my esophagus. So they had this thing called golden milk. Have you guys heard of it?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
Those of you
usually like
I have
coconut
never
milk with turmeric
Yeah.
and like maple syrup
turmeric
or
and
honey.
yeah. And I like researched it, and it's supposed to be really good for inflammation.
100%. Yes.
Mhm. So, newsflash, I've realized I don't really love turmeric, but I was proud of myself that I tried it. And, I was thinking it'd be great if that was something I could regularly add to my diet, because turmeric is supposed to be, I've seen at Costco, they have turmeric pills and all these things. But I might give it another try at another point, maybe have a little bit less of the turmeric. It was a little bit strong of a taste, but the anti-inflammatory properties of it are supposed to be really good. So it's nice to be able to go to a coffee house. I got my little hot sleeve cup and had the hot drink, and didn't really feel like I was depriving myself of the coffee, even though I do miss coffee.
Oh my gosh, that's major. First off, the fact that you decided to try something new, even if it
Mhm.
was something that you determined from actually trying it that you didn't, what you feel about turmeric. I was going to ask you how you feel about curry, because curry, also you're not. Oh, okay. You're
I
making
don't dislike it. It's just spice, like the spice
Mm-hmm.
level is usually challenging for my palate.
Okay, because you can have curry that's not spicy, but
And
Okay.
turmeric's on the plane of mustard. Like
mm,
if you don't like like the taste of yellow mustard, you're probably
Mm-mm.
not going to be a fan
Mhm.
of it.
mhm.
But
It's
when it's
very
mixed,
strong.
yeah, it's present. But I
Mhm.
find like if it's mixed with a coconut milk and it has like the maple syrup or some honey in it, that helps take a little of
Mhm.
the edge off. I don't know
Mhm.
too many people who drink it because they like it. They drink it because of the
And it
health
has the properties.
properties for
And
it.
that's
That's
what I've
why I would
actually
give
been
it
doing.
You
Mhm.
have? Okay. That's why
Yeah.
I will give it another chance, or play around with the ratio of the milk to the turmeric mix. Because like, if it's going to help me and help me decrease the inflammation, I think that's worth it to have something that maybe tastes not as great as, coffee or tea.
Yeah, my naturopathic doctor highly recommended it. It's something I've been
Okay.
doing for the anti-inflammatory
Okay.
Mhm.
reasons. So,
Good
like you
to
said,
know.
playing around with it. But again, you tried it, and
Yes.
you didn't.
Yeah.
You said, "I want coffee. I want to go to this coffee shop," and you could have given in, but you
Mhm.
decided. I see that as a major win,
Yeah.
especially because I think you and I are similar. That sometimes when we see something and it's in any way weird, or something that we're not used to. We're like, no, not going to do that. That's okay. Aaron
Right.
can try that. Aaron eats drink stuff like that. He can have that. But you decided to try it. And
Mhm.
that to me is worth more than the weight loss, because that's a
Yeah.
mental shift.
Yeah.
So bravo.
Yeah.
And I would also say that Another win too, and I know this is something too that when we often are either in a zone of weight loss or we're beginning a problem, we will often turn down opportunities to gather with people because the
Mhm.
pressure we feel from the food, or if we're going through a health struggle, we sometimes will decline those things. And I'm really
Mhm.
proud of you for saying yes, and then either finding something to be able to do, but it was more about getting together with your friend, than it
Mhm.
was necessarily about what you were going to drink or what you were gonna eat. I think
Yeah.
that's a big key too.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you.
Yay.
What
What
about
about
you,
you, Erin?
Erin, though?
Well, for me, it was a good week. It was a solid week again, kind of recuperating from the Rona. It was a busy week with birthdays and celebrations. It
Okay.
was my mother's birthday. It was my nephew's birthday. It was Father's Day. It was my
Wow.
grandfather's 90th birthday.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was my cousin's daughter's baby shower. And then day 2 of my grandfather's 90th birthday.
Oh,
So
Wow.
so there was a lot of birthday and a lot of celebration,
Mhm.
and I'm, really proud of myself that I just approached the food like it was normal food and not party food.
Mhm.
And, if how many times do I wanna eat cake this week? How many times do I wanna do that? I'm like, not
Mhm.
really once is good enough for me. That's plenty. And so that's what I did. And I felt fine. I didn't feel deprived. I didn't feel like I was creating any awkward scenes or anything like that. And I was just, no, I'm not gonna eat it. I'm good. I'm good. It makes it a lot
Mhm.
easier when you have food allergies too, you
well,
know?
that's actually what I was just about to ask you is do you find that it actually is easier for you to kind of be
Well,
in
in
those
this one
situations with your food sensitivity?
yeah, because I have to bring it. So,
Mhm.
in this case, it
Mhm.
was like, I had actually had made something. I made a cake, and it just this particular cake recipe did not jive with a gluten-free substitution, and it was terrible. And I
Mhm.
was like, I could bring something with me. I don't want to. There's gonna be a fruit salad, and I'm really happy right now with eating watermelon and strawberries and, all of the fresh fruit. So I didn't worry
Mhm.
about it. That's what I had. I had fresh fruit
Great.
because it wasn't like we made a big deal about eating they had cupcakes and stuff for my grandfather's birthday, but everybody ate them at different points.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I did for Paul's birthday. I made his birthday cake and he helped me ice and put sprinkles on it. And he wanted to make sure everybody ate cake. So I'm not going to tell a 6-year-old I'm not eating his cake. So, right. I'm going to draw the line at that.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
blasphemy. You have to eat it. You
Right.
must.
Right. But I kept my walking up. I got my walking now that I've like the energy has started to return, the fatigue is
Mhm.
down. And that's a funny thing is like I could not. I was so tired I couldn't even talk. And if I can't even talk, we got a problem.
Pretty serious. It's
Right.
pretty serious.
But I couldn't
Mhm.
wait to get out and walk again. And so even while I was sick with it, every day I went outside and just walked up my street and back. But I was like, I could
Mhm.
not wait for my regular 2-mile walk. Like I was itching for it. And I loved that my body was itching for that. It couldn't wait to
Yeah,
return to it. So
that's
yeah, it was a good
amazing.
week.
Shows you've made a shift when your body is like, we need to move, please. And you're
It
like,
does.
Mhm.
who am I to not give it what it needs? It's very
Right.
wonderful.
So this week I
Yeah.
was thinking, WW, if anybody happen to go to any of the meetings, whether in person or online, the topic was on stress.
That's right.
Mhm.
And they had a really cool technique. And Ricky, I know it really resonated with you and I'd love to share it. But I was also
Mhm.
thinking as I was watching or as I was watching and as I was listening in our meeting about stress, that my walking pattern actually came out of stress as a
Yeah.
desire to tamp stress down and actually get a hold of stress
Mhm.
before it overwhelmed me, like trying to put it back in the box that it's been. Have you guys noticed any behaviors or any changes that you've made in reaction to stress to try and keep stress in a box so it's not overtaking your life?
Mhm.
Exercise is another one for me too. Exercise definitely has helped me with managing my stress, but also the two other things that I have been consistently doing to try to manage my stress is journaling and meditation. As you all know, I'm going through a pretty stressful time in my life right now, and I have been searching everywhere for any outlet that I can that will help me to keep myself in a really good headspace when I find myself getting overwhelmed with everything that's going on. And meditation really brings me back. And I talked about this a few podcasts ago, about how WW has the meditation part that you can use, and there's also some free ones that you can use on YouTube and other places, but it's helpful to help you stay in the moment. Because I usually find I'm stressed when I'm too focused on the future or too focused on things that I can't control. So staying present and has been helpful for me, and those are the tools that I use.
Yeah. If you go, I just pulled up, if you saw me looking away, I was looking in my app. And if you go over to it's called the hamburger menu, the 3 lines that are there at the top of the app. And you scroll down underneath of mindset, there's audio coaching that's there. I don't think they have that connection with that. They used to have, like, was it Headspace or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else knows if they're still doing that, but I don't see
I don't
it.
see that. No,
But
I just see
underneath,
it as a daily listening. Yeah.
yeah, but underneath mindset, though, there's the audio coaching, and a lot of the audio coaching is in stress reduction and, different ways of thinking on the journey. It's less about eat this or eat that, and more about the strengthening your body or strengthening your mind portion. So, and shifting mindsets. Ricky, what did you think about the technique? Can you share about the technique?
Yeah, I got to go to a meeting. It was Kimmy, I think, is it Kimmy F's meeting? Yeah, and she was talking about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, and an example of it would be, if you think about the 5 senses and doing each of them, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 times. So looking around the room, using your sight to find 5 things and focus on, I see a picture, I see a light, I see a water bottle, I see my phone for 5, and then 4 things you can smell in your environment. And 3 things you can taste, 2 things you can hear, going through all the senses. And I really resonated with it, especially, and I love how she asked everyone which one was one of them that resonated with you the most, because it was different for everyone. For me, I think looking around at different things was helpful, but also like cueing into what I could hear in the environment. It just kind of brings you to earth and brings you back to the basics of, okay, my heart's beating, I'm breathing, I'm alive, I'm grateful. And it really completely took my mind off of whatever I was thinking on. I love the virtual meetings, but I think, you can easily get distracted if you're sitting in your house and you're like, oh man, I need to clean that window or whatever it is. And it was a really great way to just bring your focus to the basics. And it's something that I plan on using if I'm in a moment of, stress or, just being uncertain about things, whatever it is.
Candace, I mean, you've been through a journey the past couple months, and I know stress has been a big thing for you to work on controlling for your health. How has that been? What did it look like for you then? And what does it look like for you now?
So, meaning when I was trying to manage stress before all of this stuff came into my life.
Because, and then afterwards employing like the techniques that you've been talking about, that you've been using, exercise, journaling, and meditation.
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't managing my stress very well at all. Even before all of this stuff came up, I wasn't really forced to, because my stress may have been, with work and other things that came up and intermittently, but having stuff just piled on you. Acutely, I was not sleeping. I mean, my sleep was affected. And that's the biggest way that stress is expressed for me is, when I'm not sleeping well. Sometimes it'll affect me with my eating, but my mind is racing and I just can't get myself into like a steady place. And now that I have been doing this more often, because I've had to, when life has made you figure out a way, because it's not stopping. Like, this is, especially this particular journey, it's one where every day I'm confronted with things that I could stress about. I find that as I've employed the techniques, I have been able to keep myself a bit more grounded and not have to use medication or other things to kind of maintain that stress-free life. That's why I do agree, like, that the exercise, I become a little bit addicted in a way to the movement and to, the meditation, because I like the way that it makes me feel afterwards. I didn't realize how much I was holding things in, because when I was not managing my stress well, my blood pressure went up. And I think I talked about that when I was initially diagnosed. The way that I knew that I wasn't managing it well was I went to the doctor. Well, I was seeing many doctors, and my blood pressure was through the roof. And they're like, well, what is going on? I said, well, think about what you just told me that I have, and think about the fact that I just lost a baby. And I don't know how to process all of these emotions. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to stay in the moment. I don't know how to not stress about what my future could be. And my blood pressure was manifesting and showing what I was not releasing and what I was not able to manage. Again, to be redundant, I did start to get on the bike, my Peloton. I started walking. I made some health changes, and I started the meditation, and I brought my blood pressure down like within a week.
Wow.
I was able to quickly get it into normal range. And I said, see, this is something where you don't even realize silently what stress can do to you, because you would think that, yes, I'm crying and I'm processing and I'm talking, but there's other stuff that's going on internally in terms of how I'm processing this. And so, because I've had to monitor my body a lot going through this, I've been able to actually see physically how my body responded to stress and how it responded to the things that I used to address the stress. So I know that it works. Even if you feel like it's silly, it actually works. So that's a long-winded way of saying that I've seen the whole process from not managing it well to managing it with the techniques that we discussed.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect every day, but yeah.
But the techniques are there, and you're using them,
Yeah.
which is important. I mean, I identify with that. I realized this was 2021, February of 2021. I was extraordinarily stressed, and I was completely unhealthy in my mind and in my body. And I had an event that literally just sent me over the edge. And I recovered from it, got myself, my mind, my body, my brain kind of like back in a good place. And about 2 days afterwards, I broke out in mouth ulcers from the extreme stress. And it wasn't just like mouth ulcers. They covered the back of my throat, and they kept popping up. Like it was, the stress was so bad. It caused such a physical reaction in my body. And I went, I will never allow myself to go under such stress again, that this is the reaction that requires a doctor's intervention and an antiviral. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that was a part of like the catalyst. So then I went into that year-long project that I knew I would have. And I went, how do I want to get out? How do I want to end this? Because I knew that this year-long project was going to take me to the edge if I let it. And it was having to put boundaries in place. And that's where I realized that my boundaries are terrible. And it had needed to create, like, in order for me to address the stress and prevent the stress, I needed a holistic change within me of how I handle things. So like, that's one I would say, even when we talk about stress, is even like, is there a holistic change that's needed in how we handle stress?
I think that's a challenge too, with I think all of us want to make other people happy. And we've talked about being people pleasers. And when you do realize that you need to put boundaries in place for your own well-being, it can feel like you're hurting other people, or that you're going to disappoint people. And I think it's something you kind of have to almost mentally prepare yourself for, that this is not being selfish. And there's nothing wrong with being selfish if you need to be, because if you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to put someone else's needs before your own? And then it just leads to bitterness and all kinds of just health issues. Like you said, Erin, you didn't have those boundaries in place. You didn't put your own needs first, and you had health concerns because of it.
And
So
not
I think
only that,
yeah, go ahead.
no, but I was saying not only that, but that's something that I was actually told in my current journey with this current cancer
Right.
journey. They were like, stress actually works against everything that we're doing to address your treatment. Like it actually is a part of your treatment for you to manage your stress. Was said
Wow.
to me by my doctor. Like it's counterproductive. They find that people who hold a lot of stress have poor outcomes because the treatment can't work against, you're working against your body.
Wow.
Inflammation, all of that can be triggered by stress. And I need my body in the most peaceful, kind of relaxed state as it can, so that the treatment that I'm doing to get me to my healthiest state can work. And when I heard that, I said, wow, so it's actually like stress could be, stress is something that is actually counterproductive to everything that I'm doing. So I need to make this a big, that reminder being in the back of my mind, being there is strong. Like you said, with the people pleasing or whatever it is, to say it's not selfish for me to take a nap. It's not selfish for me to do whatever I need to do. It's time for me to go upstairs and meditate. It's time for me to go for my walk. This is what I need to do. Just like I need to go to chemo, just like I need to have surgery. All of those things work together. That's a very extreme reminder, but to hear your doctor say it will help you. It'll encourage you to make that choice when you really don't feel like it's a natural choice that you want to make.
Well, I hear you say that, and I think let's go ahead and take it to that extreme moment, because if this is something that would help someone who's currently battling cancer, why wouldn't that be something we'd want to employ now when we don't have it? Because they can even be part of a preventative, right? Preventative for
100%.
it.
100%.
Let's talk about stress and food, how those two go together, because I think that it can lead to one of two ways. One, that stress can lead to overeating, or stress could lead to restriction.
Absolutely.
How have you guys seen that show up in your life?
I mean, I think I don't want to say duh, like, because that would be not, doesn't mean that just because I struggle with weight, then it's that I overeat. Because I actually have found, so there's been some times when I'm stressed that I don't want to eat at all. That's more recent, to be honest. It usually is that sweets, certain types of foods I'm triggered to want to eat when I'm stressed. Mainly sweets.
But like you just said, right now, though, stress makes you like there's a new path of doing where you don't want to eat. And that also can affect your health as well.
Exactly.
Right? Restriction is
everything's about health right now. So it's not healthy for me to not eat. It's not helpful for me to overeat or to eat a certain type. That's why I said this particular journey is quite frustrating, because I cannot use any of the coping mechanisms that I used in the past. And I don't really appreciate it. Maybe that was the whole point of it, but that's a big point to make. But yeah.
I think I tend to be, or historically, I've been on the overeating side of the stress eating. But I know when I first started having issues with the gastritis, I don't know. Part of it was I really truly didn't have much of an appetite, but I think part of me was so worried. I need to do something drastic to change, and that I just didn't eat much in the first few days or first week or so of figuring out what was going on with my GI tract. And but typically I tend to be the one who, if I'm stressed, I am looking for a drive-through or looking for a slice of cake or whatever it is. Like, can I grab a handful of candy? Let me use this to kind of numb my feelings or my worries for a few seconds. And then I'll solve the problem, or then I'll figure it out. Then I'll stop. And it never solves it. Never is a solution that's helpful.
Have you guys found any ways to conquer that urge to eat when you're stressed?
I don't know if, well, speaking more of my current journey, maybe not to not eat, but to force myself to eat, when I was,
Mhm.
is, I hate to say it, it's your why. It's finding that really strong reminder of what's going on and what you're trying to accomplish. So for me, my why is very, very strong. Right now, I have a very intense focus on not only eradicating the cancer, but getting myself into the healthiest body state that I can. So anything that I am trying to do, whether it's that I know intellectually is counterproductive to that, trying to use my support network to remind me, because I have a support network that is putting a lot of energy and time into me, which can make me feel very, very guilty. Um, but I know that
Mhm.
it's important to not feel that way, because everybody needs support as they're going through things. But
Mhm.
telling them, look, I don't really feel like eating today, so I need to eat. And I need what are we eating for dinner? Can you help me figure out what we need to make, because I don't want to eat. So therefore I know I need to. So being
Mhm.
honest with my support network about how I'm feeling, and even with overeating, sometimes I've done that too. I might share with you guys, say, hey, that cake is looking really good. I'm looking to put thank you, Ricky, on there and go pick it up from Cakes Plus. I'm gonna eat the whole thing. I just want to let you know.
And Ricky will never see
Ricky's
it.
never gonna get it. She's never gonna get it. But I'm gonna write. I was gonna call him, because I need a celebratory cake. And you all may do your whole, now let's get on and do a podcast. Now, Candace, what are we gonna talk about? I think I told you all I had a dream that Aaron and Ricky stopped me from getting a milkshake. This is when I was pregnant. They stopped me from getting a milkshake from Chick-fil-A. And I
You were
took
so
off my
mad at us in
earrings.
real life.
Yeah, I took my earrings off and was like, let's go for it. I'm sick of you guys stopping me from my so even in my dreams, you're my accountability partners. But accountability partners do help with under
Mhm.
eating and over, to be honest, and say, I'm struggling right now. I need some
Mhm.
support, because not everybody is in the acute space that you are when you're when you're not thinking rationally.
Mhm.
So that's something that's helped me. I don't know.
Mhm.
What about you guys?
Yeah, I think, the accountability part for sure, and,
Mhm.
the piece that I've been leaning into that you guys are probably tired of hearing me say is that if hunger isn't the problem, food isn't the solution.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Because I've had to remind myself, because I don't wanna be dealing with this any longer than is necessary. I
Mhm.
really don't, and it's up to me to make that change. And if this is a problem for me, and it's been a problem for me in the past, I I don't I don't wanna bring that with me into the future.
Mhm.
When I'm considering my future and I'm looking at these things, I don't this that isn't part of it. And the only way to make it not part of it is to leave it behind and to start doing things, where I'm shedding it. And for me, it
Mhm.
is this consistent reminder that if hunger isn't the problem, food isn't the solution, and
Mhm.
that there are other
Mhm.
solutions to deal with this in its appropriate way. Journaling, prayer, exercise, and I wanna be careful when I say the word exercise, because I don't want somebody to hear that and think, or if they've maybe, they've had maybe exercise issues in the past of over exercising, right?
Mhm.
But I'm talking about just normal activity, normal routine as part of, combating that thing that happens in our brains that we all know happens in our brains,
Mhm.
when it comes to stress. So for me, it looks like
Mhm.
doing nothing with food, having nothing to do with food when stress comes up, and working it. To me, stress is it's a mental thing.
Yeah.
Ricky, what about you?
So I think for me, similar to what you're saying, Erin, it involves disrupting whatever thought pattern is going on, and sometimes just getting some water and or doing something completely different, just getting my mind off of that, and trying to figure out what's really going on, because I think sometimes it is avoiding whatever problem, like you're saying, Aaron. I'm avoiding whatever problem I'm having by having this food, and I'm delaying my future. I know that I want to be healthy, but if I'm making a choice to you know have a binge on a certain food or whatever it is, I'm delaying my success because I'm and momentarily giving into this impulse that's really avoidance of whatever I really need to deal with. And it's not truly helping. You said it exactly, Erin, like it's not the solution to whatever problem I'm having. So I think disrupting the thought pattern in the moment is the strongest thing I can do. And half the time I do forget about whatever craving I was having or whatever thing I thought would help me food wise in the moment. And I just move on to something else. And sometimes it's a fight. I have to disrupt that pattern multiple times throughout the day. But I never regret not making that choice to binge or to eat something really unhealthy.
Mm-hmm. And, that's what I work. Yeah, obviously, I think I've mentioned I work in the field of addiction with my veterans. And that's something our therapists who work with us regularly tell our veterans to do whenever they have a craving for a drug or for alcohol. Mm-hmm. It's giving yourself 30 minutes. It's even putting a time, like I just need, usually within 30 minutes, the craving will dissipate. But people don't give themselves that time for it to do so.
Yeah.
And it's something that we all can do at different, with not just food, but thoughts, anything that's causing stress. You can get, even if you were to take yourself away from that stressful trigger, because it could be work, mm-hmm. It could be something that you see on the internet. We have a lot that could stress us out right now. I mean, you turn on the news and it's like war, Supreme Court. You know what? I'm going to turn this off for 30 minutes. I'm going to get outside. I'm just going to change the environment. Mm-hmm. And when you come back, a lot of times you can feel a lot more clear and are able to make better choices. So I'm trying to give myself that 30-minute window for the mm-hmm. things that stress me out right now, mm-hmm. Food or whatever, So that's a good reminder. When I heard you say it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what we talk about all the time at work. Mm-hmm. We don't give ourselves the ability to get away and to make that decision.
Mm-hmm. Ricky, one thing that I just picked up on what you said, and I think you added to what I was saying in a really great way, and that was the word avoid. Mm-hmm. And it is don't avoid the why. We need to address mm-hmm. the stress, address the reason behind the stress. Mm-hmm. And 9 times out of 10, the reason behind the stress has nothing to do with food. The thing is not the thing. And it's learning what the thing is of why the stress exists and addressing the stress in the way that needs to be addressed in whatever topic or whatever fashion. But food isn't going to be the thing. Overeating or undereating is not the thing that's going to address it. 9 times out of 10, it's really, we need to have a conversation with somebody, and we're avoiding having to have a conversation with somebody.
A courageous conversation is what they call it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Time to have a courageous conversation because like you said, you're with yourself or with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a perfect place to end. We need to address the stress with a courageous conversation. Beautiful. I love that. I love it. I love it. Well, ladies, as always, it's a fabulous time talking with you and talking through these things, because every time we have these conversations, I pick up something new that I can use in my own journey. And I know that other people are listening right now and picking some things up for themselves too. We'd love to hear from you over in the Real WW Talk Facebook group. Tell us your techniques for busting through stress, things maybe that you've learned about yourself by addressing the stress, or maybe you've had a courageous conversation with yourself that, maybe someone else could benefit from hearing. When you share out of your hardship and your vulnerability, it actually opens up other people to be able to share too, and helps them move forward in success in their life, because there's a little tidbit that they can pull and apply. That's beautiful. You can find the Real WW Talk Facebook group if you just search Real WW Talk on Facebook. And you can also find us on Instagram, YouTube, if you want to see what we look like. And if you decide one of your stress busting techniques is to go for a walk or a run or a bike ride, and you want to take us with you, we're on every podcast platform. Just search Real WW Talk. That's it. All right. Well, that's it from us. We wish you a really, really awesome week as you are working towards your goals. Have a great week.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.